It's Friday, March 13th, 2026, and we have a major blizzard on the way for the upper Midwest. We're going to get into all the details in this video. We could see 1, 2, even 3 feet of snow this weekend for portions of the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region. We're also going to see snow across the Northern Rockies, Northwest, and New England, so we're going to get into that. By the way, as this blizzard is moving across the upper Midwest, Sunday into Monday, look to the south. We could be having a severe weather outbreak. Potentially, you can see this nice QLCS or squall line forming across portions of the central southern plains, pushing out east through the Midwest, Mississippi Valley, potentially out there through the Tennessee Valley. And then this severe weather could also make it out towards the East Coast on Monday. So there's a lot going on. This is a classic winter storm: snow, ice, sleet, severe weather. And of course, we have to talk about the cold blast coming. We could see temperatures 10, 20, even 30 plus degrees below average in the third week of March following this blizzard and severe weather. So there's plenty to talk about. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. And if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. And of course, if you like the video, like the video. Let's get into the weather updates. All right, let's start off with your 7 to 10 day forecast. I just want to start from a wide view so you guys know what's going on here. And I'll get through this quickly because I have a lot of details to talk about: the blizzard, severe weather, and the temperatures, everything that's going on. We got a storm system moving through the upper Midwest right now. It's going to move through the Great Lakes region out towards New England. Okay, this is putting down some decent snow, could even wrap some lake effect snow back into the UP of Michigan. You could see some decent totals here. And guess what? You guys who are receiving snow from this storm right now, you're about to get a double whammy because the blizzard that's coming through Sunday, Monday, is going to come right through this area as well. So your totals are going to be crazy. So this storm, as we move through Saturday and into Sunday, moves out and off the coast of New England, and we have some cold air that settles in right behind it. Look what happens as we get into Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. We have another storm system moving into the Northwest. This is going to bring a lot of snow to the high elevations. I don't expect a lot of snow, if any snow, for the low elevations here. I think the temperatures are going to be a little bit too warm, but we could be pushing 40, 50 plus inches in the mountains up there in the high elevations of the Northwest and Northern Rockies. All right, let's move into Saturday night into Sunday morning. This is when we start to get some heavy snow through the Dakotas, moving into Minnesota and potentially Wisconsin. Now getting into late morning on Sunday. So this is going to be right around 10 a.m. This is when we may see some significant, maybe even earlier than 10 a.m. This is when we expect blizzard-like conditions to be affecting portions of Minnesota and Wisconsin, including Minneapolis. You can see central to northern Wisconsin, the UP of Michigan. This is going to be a serious snowstorm. We could see 30 to 35 plus mile per hour sustained winds at times with 50 plus mile per hour gusts. And by the way, on the southern side of the system, this is pushing through Sunday. Look what begins to happen. We start to get what could be pretty significant severe weather event here. You have your snow to the north, you have your ice, your sleet in the middle, severe weather to the south, classic major winter storm. You get these in March, you're getting the transition of seasons, and you have a lot of cold, dry air slamming into this warm, moist air, this warm, moist spring air. So you get some serious instability when this happens, and you can get some strong tilting troughs, some deepening lows, again, that just produce blizzards up to the north and severe weather to the south. Here we go, pushing through Monday. This severe weather starts to move off to the east, and then we could actually end up having a little bit of severe weather to worry about through portions of the mid-Atlantic all the way down through Georgia potentially. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. Also, this snowstorm, this blizzard, we're getting into all the details. Don't worry, just getting through this 7 to 10 day forecast first. You could see a little bit of snow wrap around the back of this as well too. We're going to have to see, do we actually see any sort of decent accumulating snow behind this? It's possible. We're watching Iowa, Illinois, maybe even northern Missouri. I think it's going to be pretty dry. I think this air back here is going to be pretty dry. I don't expect a ton of snow down here. As I've seen the models adjust, it looks dry. Getting through Monday and then getting into Tuesday, this storm finally, you can see it's going to be a wash Monday and likely early Tuesday for the mid-Atlantic in New England. But right behind this system, we have very, very cold air. I'm talking 10, 20, 30 plus degrees below average air. That's pushing in to the east. We could even see, feels like, temperatures along the Gulf getting below freezing. Out west, while we're below freezing out east, we could see triple digits in the southwest. Major ridge forming out there for next week. So tale of two sides of the country as we get into early next week. All right. Pushing through Tuesday into next Wednesday, we still have some cold air out east. We have another storm system, maybe some more snow trying to push down into the upper Midwest, Great Lakes region, maybe even Ohio Valley out towards the mid-Atlantic, New England. We'll see. Some models really amplify this clipper and put snow down in this region, and the Euro isn't really seeing that as much. You just kind of, it's too dry, right? So I'm not too concerned about this right now. There's not enough model consensus to think that this is going to be any sort of major clipper system, but still some cold air for the east. Finally, as we push out towards next Friday, next weekend, warm air starts to take over the whole country again. We get a little bit of a zonal flow here, maybe one more shot of cold air and some snow for portions of New England. 190 plus hours out though. things are going to change. So anyways, we get warm, but pushing out a little bit further, 22nd, 23rd, 24th of March, maybe even more cold air for the east. So lots of cold air, lots of winter-like stuff happening for the east in the second half of March. Let's get into the details of this snowstorm. I wanted to show you this because this is the Euro over the last 24 hours. This 2 to 3 inch per hour band of snow was way in southern Minnesota. And take a look at where it is now, directly over Minneapolis, St. Paul. That is why the totals in Minneapolis, St. Paul have gone from the National Weather Service this morning expecting 9 to 12 inches to now the National Weather Service expecting something like 16 to 20 inches, I think was the latest update, or 15 to 19 inches. It could even go up. This is the latest national blend, and I'm just going to show you right now because most of the snow out west is going to be high elevation snow. So I'm going to show you what's happening up here where we could actually see this blizzard. Northern Plains, we're going to take a look, upper Midwest, Great Lakes region. This is typically a conservative model. This model a lot of times will show you less snow than you may actually see because it takes all the model runs, and not just every single model, but every single member of every model, blends it together. So there ends up being a lot of runs in there that actually show little to no snow that get mixed in. And there's typically some that show a lot, but a lot of times the national blend overall is a conservative model. If it says you're going to get 8 inches, in my head, I'm like, well, they could maybe actually see 9 to 10 because we know that it shows less than you normally get. I'm telling you all this because 22 inches into Minneapolis, St. Paul on the national blend, that's supposed to be a conservative model. It's hard for me to believe we're going to get over 2 feet of snow in Minneapolis, but just to show you guys how serious this snowstorm could be. Again, large swath of a foot to potentially 2 feet of snow up here in the Northern Plains, upper Midwest. And then if we push out towards the Great Lakes region, look at this. I mean, we're talking 2 to 3 feet potentially. And again, this is a conservative model. This is the national blend. Absolute insanity. All right, I wanted to show you what the Euro's been doing. Here was literally last run, the 18Z. And here's the new run. Look at that snow move north. Now we're seeing a bunch more snow in northeastern South Dakota, some more in southern North Dakota. Minneapolis goes from the Euro seeing 14 inches to 24 inches to 2 feet of snow. So this is quite a significant change from run to run. And the 00Z Euro is the one you want to look at. It's a fresh data set. The 00Z, the 12Z, that's fresh data. The 06Z and 18Z are off-hour runs, like I say. That's not a fresh data set. That's just adjusted for time. So the fact that this is a 00Z and we're talking about less than 72 hours out, this is quite the adjustment. All right, let's quickly take a look at the expected snowfall totals from the National Weather Service. Out here in the Northwest, it's going to be mountain snow. Like I said, 40, 50 plus inches is possible. Getting out here, now these darker oranges is when you get into a foot. This is expected. Now you get into the reds here, we're talking 18 inches plus. Minneapolis, around 16 plus inches expected. By the way, I expect these snow totals actually to shift a little bit north and maybe even amplify a little bit because since these latest runs have been coming out, including the GFS and Euro, that have shifted our snow north and that have amplified snow into cities like Minneapolis, I haven't seen the National Weather Service update this. So I actually think it looks like the target for Minnesota is going to be down here, Rochester, potentially up towards Lakeville. I actually think the target's going to end up shifting north, at least for a time being. We'll see if it holds into the Minneapolis metro. This could end up being a blockbuster storm for Minneapolis, potentially record-breaking for some. But you can see here, Wisconsin getting hammered, 1 to 2 feet of snow. Expected northern Michigan, not bad snow out here for New England. We're talking about New York, 4 to 8, 5 to 9 inches. Watertown area, though, up here, you can see some significant snow, 1.5 feet plus of snow. Vermont, New Hampshire, definitely some good elevation snow. And then Maine, a good swath of snow here as well, 4 to 8 inches, maybe 4 to 9 inches across the state. Now, remember, that was just the expected amount. Take a look at what's happening out here when we go to the high end. Montana, even the lowland, you're pushing over 12 inches of snow. You're pushing over a foot of snow. South Dakota, you're seeing a lot more snow here on the high end, at least more widespread, maybe not extremely higher totals from the expected to the high end, but it's more widespread. And that's what I noticed when it comes to the high end. The high end's actually bringing the snow down into Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, even trying to put down maybe 4 inches, 5 inches into Omaha. This is also accounting for heavy back end snow. I think that back end snow is going to be dry. High end totals Minneapolis, and it actually looks like they just updated this while I was recording. Now they have the high end totals in Minneapolis pushing almost 30 inches of snow. So this is the National Weather Service saying, hey, there's about a 10% chance you guys could get 30 inches of snow. Let me actually see if the expected changed. There it is. As I'm recording this video, and I was just telling you guys, I think they're going to shift this north. The new expected total for Minneapolis, 21 to 22 inches. This is wild. This is wild. I think the largest single day or 24-hour snowfall in Minneapolis was the Halloween blizzard that put down something like 22 inches in 24 hours. Well, guess what? The storm, at least right now, we're going to see maybe some changes over the next 48 hours, but we're getting pretty close here. We're in forecasting range. At least right now, this storm is going to give the Halloween blizzard a run for its money. Although the Halloween blizzard was crazy. It was in October. Made no sense. But This is going to give it a run for its money. Now we're seeing Eau Claire, 25 plus inches, 2 feet of snow, 2 feet of snow. Expected, guys. This is expected. Green Bay, 20 inches expected. Look at northern Michigan, 2 feet. UP Michigan, 2 feet. So this all shifted north. Rochester still 19 inches. The expected total still looking pretty good for northern Iowa. Mason City, a foot of snow. Waterloo, about 3 inches. We're looking at Storm Lake, 7 inches. Fort Dodge, 6 inches. Mason City, a foot. Milwaukee, your expected total's gone down a little bit, down to 2 inches. Not seeing any expected snow down in Chicago. Grand Rapids, 4 inches. Big Rapids, a foot. So very interesting. Very interesting, the shift there. Look at our high ends, though, through portions of Wisconsin. Almost 45 inches of snow on the high end. It's the high end, but still, that is crazy to see as even a 10% chance, even a possibility. This is a major snowstorm. Oh, and by the way, it's not just the snow totals. Here we go as we push through Sunday. Now, we are seeing potential for stronger wind gusts across the plains, but you have to remember, we have heavy snow falling here to the north. So if we're seeing 35 to 45 to 50 plus mile per hour gusts across portions of the upper Midwest while snow's falling, you get that blowing snow. This is an extreme hazard. You do not want to be on the road. This is serious, serious, serious blizzard conditions. Of course, we're going to see some strong, strong winds across the plains with this trough digging. The 500 millibar trough looks incredible, digging through the plains and sparking up that severe weather potentially. By the way, what's following this blizzard and severe weather, and we're going to get more into the severe weather here in a second, but very, very cold air, major cold blasts. These greens represent about 10 degrees below average, and then you're pushing through 20, and then you're getting into 30 degrees, then 35 degrees plus below average. So this is extremely cold air. We could even see feels like temperatures down across the Gulf states trying to push below freezing. So here we go, getting into Monday. That cold air is taking over the east from the plains all the way out east. Tuesday, it's hanging around. Wednesday, finally getting some heat back into the plains on Wednesday, but look at out east still. Thursday, Friday. Saturday, New England's still cold, but as we get into next weekend, it looks like a big warm-up's on the way. And again, how cold could this be? Well, here's our apparent temperatures. There you go. 23 degree feels like temperatures in southern Minnesota, potentially in the third week of March here. We're getting negative feels like temperatures all the way down into central Missouri. You want to look at the actual temperatures here. It's still cold. We're still getting negative temperatures potentially into southern Minnesota, and we're seeing single digits into Iowa and potentially northern Missouri, eastern Nebraska. Now, this is Sunday night into Monday. Let's push out a little bit further as we get into Tuesday, and those cold temperatures again. Look at Minnesota and Wisconsin. We're talking about 10 to 20 degrees below freezing feels like temperatures. Oh, and by the way, 37 degree feels like down in Houston. New Orleans, we could be seeing 32 to 35 degree feels like temperatures. Down in Tallahassee, Florida, 31 degrees feels like. You can see as this cold air spreads out east, this is freezing, freezing, freezing air. We're seeing potentially feels like temperatures down in Tampa, Florida, getting into the low 40s. Very, very cold air. Maybe even colder, maybe even around 39. Here is our Sunday severe weather. Now, I do expect this actually to expand a little bit to the north. Definitely not sure how far to the south, but we're definitely seeing on some of our models now, we're getting into kind of the short to medium range, like the Rufus and NAM model that can show us 84 hours out. We're going to get into the real short range models as we get into the weekend, but I do expect this to expand. Listen, hail, strong winds, tornadoes are all on the table for Sunday. Now, getting into Monday, I'm not so sure how severe I expect this to be. We're going to have a lot of moisture running up the coast. We could kind of have a washout before that squall line tries to move through, and that could potentially shut down our instability here. But we are expecting instability out here. We're going to have a decent low-level jet, so we've got to watch it. Again, we want to get a little bit closer to examine both of these severe weather days. I think later tonight when I get on stream, we can dive into the details because we're going to get, I believe, our 48-hour models taking a look at what could happen Sunday night. So we'll dive deeper. We'll talk about the severe weather. And just to show you what's happening, here's our jet stream. Look at this. Very, very amplified trough, and it's trying to even negatively tilt as it pushes out east. This is a very impressive trough. This is a very, very impressive trough, and you can see why we're expecting severe weather across really the plains all the way out towards the East Coast as we get into Sunday and Monday. Here's just another look at the simulated radar. This is getting into Sunday night. So things right now, and this could change again, but as of now, things look to really start kicking off as we get into around 3 to 4 p.m. on Sunday. So late, maybe mid to late afternoon, we start to get a squall line forming potentially from northern Missouri all the way down into Texas. You can see pushing just past Dallas, Fort Worth, and then that begins to move off to the east. But if we do see something like this, again, we could see our severe weather risk zone stretch a little bit further up to the north and include portions of Illinois. The instability is going to be there. You can see right here, this is taking a look at our surface cape. We could be pushing 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram of cape up through central to southern Missouri, down through Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana. So the instability is there. And again, as we get out towards Monday. Does this rain, does all this moisture off the coast kind of wash out our instability here? Rain cool the air? We'll see. We need a little bit more time on this. Although, like I said, our low level jet, 850 millibar jet's looking strong. Again, another 24 to 36 hours, I think we'll start to understand what's going to happen out here along the coast much better. You can clearly see we're expecting some decent instability, 1,000 to 1,500 joules per kilogram of Cape, along portions of the Virginia, North Carolina, maybe even South Carolina coast. As I said, I really appreciate you guys watching this video. Again, if you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I also run a weather Discord that has almost 700 weather enthusiasts in it. And if you want to look at any of these models, graphs, snow maps, it's all in my Discord. My Discord's completely free. You can take a look at the 72-hour snowfall expectations from the National Weather Service. You can take a look at the latest severe weather updates, the latest ENSO updates, temperature updates, precipitation outlooks. Everything is in there. The link to my Discord is right down in the description below. Just click that, you're in. It's completely free. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video, or I'll see you in the live later tonight at around 9 p.m.